Hi everyone, this week's Parshat is Parshat Vaera. And as you can see, I'm not in Connecticut right now, I'm in the Bahamas, which is very nice. And which is actually, I spoke about a few years ago how the Parshat relates to fish, which was pretty appropriate. But I'm going to talk about something else that's very nice, that's very appropriate to being in different places around the world, regardless of where you are, and how we could get meaning from this week's Parsha about essentially traveling anywhere. So in this week's Parsha, by the seventh plague at Vaera, hail, it says that the people who were Yirei Elokim, that had the fear of Hashem, which is a term we hear a lot, Yirat Elokim, they took their animals and they brought them inside, and their animals, their livestock, didn't get killed. So you think, okay, the people on the flip side of this equation, the ones who didn't fear God, their animals died because they left them outside. But the Torah doesn't, right? The Torah is not so simple. It doesn't just say, oh, the ones who feared God took them in, and the ones who didn't just left them out. It says the ones who didn't weren't samtem leiv le'elokim. They didn't quote unquote pay attention to God, and instead they left their animals outside, and their animals died, and they ended up dying, or with the preceding plagues afterwards, they ended up makap echorot. The rest of them, all very bad consequences for this action, for this behavior of not being samtein leiv, not paying attention to God. So I think we could learn a very beautiful message from this distinction that the Torah points out here by stating very clearly that those who feared God survived the plague of hail, but those who weren't samtein leiv, those who didn't pay attention to God, were not successful in that right. So I think relating it back to travel, being anywhere, we really have an idea that there's a difference between Yirat Elokim, fearing God, and Ahavat Elokim, loving God. Right? Ahavat Elokim is going out and connecting with Hashem and davening and doing all these things, and that's great in its own in its own right. But Yirat Elokim, fearing God, is really just all about paying attention to God. It's very simple. Just being conscious of God wherever you are in the world, whether you be in Israel or the UAE or the Bahamas or anywhere else. Just having that constant reminder in your head that Hashem is here. And it's one of the 6 mitzvot tamidio, one of the 6 mitzvot that apply all the time. And it's something that we should all be able, my bracha for everyone this week is that it should be something that we should all take with us, regardless of where we are, regardless of where we go, this message of being samtein leiv le'elokim, of paying attention to God. And with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.